In this section, we're actually going to deploy our code to Heroku. We'll start this process by committing the changes that we've made to our files into our Git repository. So I'll start by typing in git status and see which files that have changed. I'm just going to go ahead and add all of these files to be committed. And then I'll commit them all with a simple commit message. Now at this point, I'm going to want to log into Heroku. I do that by typing in Heroku login, which will invoke the Heroku toolbelt CLI and allow me to log in. Now I've already logged into my development box, so I don't need to do this again, but the process is very simple. It just prompts you for the email address and password that you use to create your Heroku account. Next, I need to create a Heroku application and associate it with this Git repository. I do that by typing in Heroku create. At this point, it's created a Heroku application, and you can see that it's given me my own unique DNS address. You'll also note that it added the Heroku remote to my Git repository. Now if I type in git remote and list them, you can see that Heroku is now listed as a remote. The next thing I'll do is set my node environment variable to production on this Heroku application. I do that by typing in Heroku config set, then the name of the environment variable, and its value. You can see that it configured the variable and restarted the application. At this point, I'm ready to deploy the code to Heroku, and I'll do that by typing in git push and Heroku and master. That will push my code to Heroku. Now at this point, you may get an error about permission denied because of your public key. If that's the case, don't worry, we'll deal with that in the next section on troubleshooting, but because that process may be somewhat involved, we're not going to deal with that here, so just keep following along, and then when we talk about troubleshooting, we'll fix that error. Now you can see that my deployment went successfully. Occasionally you may get some problems when pushing your code to Heroku. Oftentimes the solution is just to try pushing again. In the next section we'll discuss some troubleshooting tips in case you have any problems that aren't solved by simply trying to redeploy your code. Now that my application is up on Heroku, it's still not running because I haven't told Heroku to allocate any resources to it. Heroku does this through the Heroku ps scale command. And then I type in web equals 1, and basically this will get Heroku to allocate some resources to my application. And you can see that Heroku is now done with that operation, so my next step is simply to type in Heroku open. This will open my current Heroku app in my browser. And our application is now up and running on Heroku.